All right, I think I'm live. Yes, I am. So this is the part two video of applying line weight. So you can kind of see where I left you off last time. I started to draw some darker lines in this form. From there, I just kind of finished drawing some darker lines in this general area. And the 2-3 pencils I've been using, this is very important as eraser tool, but besides that, pencils I've been using are 3B, 2B, and 4B. So I can even jump up if after I apply the 2-3 all the way up to 4B down here, I can even go to my 5B in my pack. And then I can start to hit that object or that form that I was hitting before. Now remember that 5B is super dark, and you can tell that it was once a sharp point and that point is already dulled. So you're going to be sharpening this consistently, but I would just save this for the very, very end when you really need something to pull forward. For example, if all this starts to get jumbled because it's the same value, you can pull this forward just by darkening the line and then the corner. And again, it's a softer graphite. Screw it up there. It's a softer graphite, so it's going to dull out, and it's also going to smear if you constantly run the ruler back and forth. So that's why I say save this till the very end, because if you use something like this too early and then you smear back and forth, it's just going to ruin your drawing. All right, so you kind of saw what I did here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to outline. There's 3 things I want to show you. One was this. Almost finished here. So you can kind of see that starting to pull out. Okay. So one was that, and then the other was the outline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to a harder pencil, maybe a B. Start off with a B. And with the harder pencil, I'm going to start to put the, what do you call it? Border back in. So once the border's in, it's going to contain all of this stuff. For example, see how I have this going outside the border, and you don't know where the drawing ends and begins. And I showed you this last time. But I'm going to take this printing paper because it's really thin, and I'm covering the border line, and then I'm just going to erase using this guy here. Hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to erase, and I'm pulling on the paper towards my body. Don't go this way because you'll just erase underneath the paper. And it erases a nice clean line. And some of the ghost lines are still there, but that's good. That's a fine thing. Now, eventually I'm going to go back over this with maybe like a 2B or something like that. But for now, I'm just kind of slowly getting my border just a little darker, just so I can kind of see what it looks like. And you can see that it crops off that area, and it's starting to kind of clean up inside. I'm just going to cover this real quick. And erase. Now, the third thing I want to show you, notice I'm pulling on an angle this way, and when I take it off, look how clean that border is. It's nice, right? Nice and clean. That is what you want. Oh, shucks. that happens. Some of my demonstration paper. So you can kind of see this border looking nice and clean. And then eventually I'll probably just go one step darker, maybe a 2B. I don't have to go as dark as that because you want that to be the focal point. You don't want the border to be the focal point. You want the border just to contain the drawing and this to be somewhat of a framed moment. Oh yes, last thing. Say for example, you accidentally make a line too dark, right? I'm just gonna do an accidental deliberate. It's like, oh crud, that line's way too dark. My eye goes right there. This is supposed to be atmospheric perspective. What goes further away from me in space is supposed to get lighter. I didn't mean to do that. I don't want to erase it because I'm going to erase the whole line as a whole. You can grab your kneaded eraser, and this is really helpful for this project because a lot of you might have a heavy hand and you don't realize it, and you make something too dark and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't want to erase it because I'm going to erase the whole thing. A kneaded eraser will just take off a little bit of the graphite and it will lighten the lines to kind of back to a 2H or something like that. So what I'm going to do, and if you haven't never used a kneaded eraser before, you should if you're taking drawing one, but the whole idea of a kneaded eraser is it's kneaded, so you're constantly kneading it, and it's self-cleaning. So the more you knead it, the more it self-cleans, and you can create it into any shape that you want, and the heat from your hand will kind of make it a little bit more malleable. What I like to do is kind of shape it around my finger like so. So it's just an extension of my finger, if you will. And then I'll just kind of go right on that line. And I'm going to lighten it. You can see how much lighter it is here. I kind of erased more than I wanted to, but that's okay. I'm going to go back in. I just wanted to do a quick demo. But now that line is not screaming, and my focus starts to go down here first, and then it slowly fades up towards things that are further away. You can see my ground plane is in a little bit. And what I'm going to do is just erase this side here. And this is kind of exciting because this is when you're basically seeing the end, or the light at the end of the tunnel. You're basically done. You're close to it. I'm going to show one more video when I finish this. I have to just do a little cleanup up and around there. And then, where's my B? I'm just trying to line this up right where I had it before. There you go. So it's starting to contain the image. I'll finish up there, but I'm not going to do that until I kind of finish some of this stuff here. And I think there's one more thing I wanted to show you. Oh, I just want to reiterate that this 5B, again, don't use a 5B until the very, very, very end if you need to really darken a couple things that are very close to you, and that's it. I probably did a lot of the areas here with a 4B and a 3B and a 2B and just a B. And right around here is like a B, an HB, and H, 2H, and it kind of works its way up, if you will. But underneath all this, the understructure beneath all this, when you started your drawing in the very beginning, there's a lot of 2H, H4s that are still present because of the construction lines that you left. You still want them to be there. So there's a lot of mark making inside of here that you might not be able to see right at first glance, but if you look for a while, you can start to see all the understructure, the construction lines to get there. So almost finished. Exciting because you never have to do this again.